Okay, so, hello. Hello everyone, my name is Jenky, I'm also a Schrodinger's Demon, and today I'll be reacting to how Neuro-sama plays video games. This video was requested by BB Bones, and I want to say thank you for requesting this video. And the reason why I'm watching this video too is because I did mention how in the last Neuro-sama video I did react to, I talked about like how she talks to an AI to play the game while the AI plays the game for her. You know, it's very convoluted, but it's still very unique, and this video will be going more into detail. And yeah, again, this is the second video I'll be reacting to from the swarm-scribes. All the links to the channel will be down below. And outside me yapping, let's get into it. Okay, so hopefully the audio is good, and also hopefully I'm not blocking anything. And outside this, let's get into it. This is how Neuro-sama plays video games. I hope the audio is good.
One of Neuro's qualities as a streamer is to play games on stream. I mean, okay, you don't have to play games to count as a streamer, but that is one of Neuro's capabilities. You've likely seen her play games during solo chill streams. I mean, here she is playing Inscription, and here she is...
Wait, so she was playing the games by herself? I mean, I'm sure Vidal was there watching over her, but still, like, that's insane. What?
Plague Inc. These are games that she's been integrated into as its
okay.
Since she can control what she does in those games directly.
Okay.
But what you may not know is that some of the integrations you may have seen her use aren't made by Vedal. They also aren't made by Alex, who is his programmer friend that helped with many of the early integrations such as Liar's Bar, Buckshot Roulette, and Inscription. At the time of writing, around half of the integrations seen on stream, Cookie Clicker, Outer Wilds, Plague Inc., VS Code, and...
If I remember correctly, I think, like, this person mentioned... If I remember correctly, I think last time, they mentioned that, like, people in the community also write codes to integrate Nero into the games, I think. So is this where this is going? I'm not too sure.
Have been made by Swarm members and posted to the public project.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, I should not pause.
But you may be wondering how. After all, we don't get to see Nero's source code. How is it that the community can make integrations despite not knowing how she works internally, or having a copy of Neuro?
Today,
is true. I'll be giving you the rundown of the Neuro API, how this all works, give some examples, and also talk about the effort put behind keeping things smoothly running.
Okay.
And if you don't know who I am, I'm K-Train. I write code for many different projects, including these projects that use the API.
Neuro Pilot, Neuro Canvas, Neuro Tainer, Scam-sama, what? TypeScript Neuro Game API. Okay.
Whenever I can, I also help with other people making their own integrations, giving them some tips on how they can use certain techniques.
Okay,
by the way, cool. I think I'm qualified enough to give you a rundown on it. Okay,
I think introduction done.
Let's go. The protocol starts with the time when Neuro played Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. For this integration, Vedal and Alex created a protocol specific to the integration that makes sense to the game, with different commands taking names after the various things she can do in the game, such as lifeline/phone a friend. The integration worked out pretty great, but once this protocol was then applied to other games, it was pretty easy to see that the millionaire-specific commands wouldn't be applicable to other games. Well,
yeah,
who would have thought? And it would be pretty tiresome for Vedal to have to create a new set of commands per game.
I will say also, this... I don't know if K-Train edited this video. I don't know who's behind the swarm-scribes, but amazing editing. Still, by the way. And also, like, I'm not talking a lot because I feel like if I constantly pause and over it, like, I'll pause during the more pivotal parts, but I notice that, like, I pause like 18 times before it gets to, like 3 minutes sometimes, so
and translate that into something Neuro can interpret and understand. This led Vedal and Alex to co-create a generic specification for Neuro to be able to interact with any integration, without the need for custom commands for each integration.
Oh, so it was just...
In the end, docs of the specs were stored in an at-the-time private repo called Neuro Game SDK.
Okay.
All integrations going forward would also, presumably, be written to utilize the spec.
So message about the game client to Neuro server has the following format. So it goes string, so command string, game string. Okay. I don't know why I'm looking at this like I actually know what I'm looking at, but you know. Messages sent by Neuro server to the game client has the following format. Oh, so this is what the game sends to her, and this is what she sends to... Okay.
The Neuro API was officially publicized right before the second Neuro-sama Game Jam.
Oh, that's
it continues to be available on GitHub today with relatively little changes. The community has built many integrations even since the Game Jam, with many people building amazing integrations such as Stardew Valley, Played Up, Pokemon Showdown, The Farmer was replaced, Fallout New Vegas, and more being posted every month in the Neuro project form.
Huh. Okay.
So, with the history done with, let's understand how it works. Neuro does not see games the same way humans do. While she has vision, this is not part of the Neuro API, and vision can be toggled independently from the API. This means that Neuro does not see the UI of a game like we as humans normally do,
like health bars, buttons, or
Yeah.
scenery.
Instead,
So-
text packets are sent back and forth between Neuro and the integration, meaning that she can be sent more or less information than what we see. It also means she
Oh.
may be receiving incorrect or incomplete information.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, so if she was playing Pokemon, then Wabden doesn't tell her that, like, a Pokemon hit, like, a crit on her Pokemon. You know, like, something like that. Huh. Okay.
But with that said, there is a list of packets that are sent to or from Neuro when we use the Neuro API. This is represented using JSON, which is a computer-friendly data format commonly used for information transfer over the internet. After startup initialization is complete, actions can be registered/unregistered to Neuro. And Neuro can choose to execute actions at any time once registered,
Okay.
after which a result will be sent back. This result needs to be sent back as soon as possible, as in, the only delay should be late.
Wait, why was that? Okay, I have a question about that. Okay, so I'm still wondering then. So, like, how does Nero decide when it's time to change to Pokemon? Like, switch to Pokemon theoretically? Like, that's why I don't, you know, because, like, does she know how to, like, that's another question I have. Like, is it just by up to fate, or just how she's coded? She's like, okay, maybe this will be the best one. I don't know. Huh. I have more questions sometimes.
The game can also force an action
Also, why was latency censored? I'm afraid.
from Neuro, which will then require Neuro to send an action as soon as possible.
Oh, there we go.
The game can also send information to Neuro at any time with a context packet.
Oh.
All of this happens over WebSocket, which is a protocol that allows bi-directional communication between a client and a server. And that is the somewhat high-level overview of the API protocol. Anyways, the Neuro API is very well suited for turn-based card games or visual novels,
Oh, okay.
since those can
Yeah,
easily
I
be translated
assume.
into text to send to Neuro.
Yeah, I assume Nero can't play Fortnite. You know, that's the thing. She didn't choose her character.
And do not require complex real-time elements. There have been attempts to allow more real-time games for Neuro, but this is very much stretching the API protocol, so they are a challenge to integrate well, with most integrations for real-time games requiring some abstraction. Why don't I give an example of each type of integration that we have? Before we do though, let's define these categories. They aren't officially
Okay, so maybe Nero playing Fortnite one day is possible, because honestly, the driving in Cyberpunk isn't that good at times, so, you know, I can't really blame her for that one.
defined or even agreed upon categories, but these best fit the different types of integrations we have so far, so we'll stick with this. Autonomous integrations, which will be defined as games that Neuro controls by herself.
Okay.
Integrations for these games are usually turn-based games or visual novels, since, as mentioned above, they are perfect for Neuro to play on.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of things that she needs to pick from. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Also, is Nero good at Buckshot Roulette? I don't know. I want to ask that. I don't know if she is or not.
Co-op game
Co-op.
integrations,
Oh,
which will
okay.
be defined as games that Neuro and Vettel can play together. Integrations
Okay.
in here are usually integrations that are way too complex for Neuro to play alone, and usually, but not always, have some other
Oh,
element that
so
Neuro can
Vito
control
plays.
instead while Vettel plays.
And the other one's gonna be like where she
Tool
doesn't play at
integrations,
all.
which will be defined as integrations for programs that aren't games. Integrations
Okay.
in this category have a
Wait,
higher
what?
content ceiling but have less structure, and autonomy using these integrations are hard to do. Some of these categories can be combined with each other, and some integrations even fall into multiple categories, but these are the clear-cut
So-
categories we are working with. And that may or may not be too complicated, but this is actually really simple. I'll give the
Okay.
examples for each category type so you can visualize how it's working behind the scenes.
Yeah, I feel like I need especially for category
Balatro is
3.
a roguelike
I don't
card
know.
game where you stack multipliers
Okay,
by
yeah.
comboing multiple cards together, resulting in higher damage multipliers and more pokers.
Yeah.
I won't explain the entire game to you here, since that isn't necessary. What I will say is that this is a very good example of a game that fits to the Neuro API's strengths.
Yeah, because then she can also
So,
run the numbers
let's
in her
break down the
head.
integration uses here. When the game boots and the integration connects, the initial
Mm-hmm.
context tells Neuro what the game is and how to play. During
Okay.
her turn, The game registers actions for playing cards or discarding her hand. She can also choose/skip cards in booster packs, reorder jokers, use consumables, see deck info and hand levels, and the other stuff. Pretty much
Okay.
all of the above use action force packets, so Neuro is required to respond in a timely fashion.
And if she
Balatro
doesn't
is
respond.
programmed in Lua, so it is quite
So what happens if Nero doesn't respond in time, though? Does it
easy
not
to
work?
redefine functions on the fly, which they then use so that Neuro can click the buttons. This meant the mod was pretty easily doable, since you don't have to spend half your life figuring out how to detect when a certain scene was loaded.
Yeah.
The only problem that this runs into is a pretty persistent issue: context. Balatro has
Yeah.
a lot of cards with a ton of effects, and especially in the later stages, this becomes a problem as you have many cards with long descriptions that need to be processed by Neuro. Additionally, the initial context needs to specify how the game works, which can be forgotten by Neuro as time goes on, or whenever
Yeah,
she feels
'cause
like
you
it,
have
because
limited-
Neuro can control what to remember. Overall,
Yeah,
you'll see
'cause
that
her
each
memory,
integration
yeah,
has to
yeah.
work around context in their own ways, even though Neuro's context window is quite large for her case. We'll touch on limitations a bit later, but for now this is likely the biggest problem for this integration given Balatro's nature.
Okay.
Outer Wilds is a game where you control a spaceship to travel to
Oh,
different
okay,
planets
yeah, and
to
there's
solve a
co-op
grand
between.
mystery.
Okay.
Because people are pretty heavy on spoilers to this game, we'll be blurring some parts out, probably. I don't know what the editor is gonna do.
Yeah, it's just probably gonna. I don't know. I never play Outer Wilds. I did watch a streamer play a long time ago. It looked cool. Just I don't think it's a game for me though.
So, this integration is split into
Oh,
3 different
oh, oh.
parts: the control part, the context part, and decoration part. We'll only be focusing on the first two, obviously, since the third
Yeah.
part doesn't interact with Neuro. The control part, nicknamed Neuropilot, reprograms the
Wait.
ship to take actions from the Neuro API. Because of this, Neuro is
Wait.
able to fly to the ship to plan.
Wait, isn't this the code that K-Train made? Because it said Neuro Pilot, I believe, or like Neuro something. If so, that's insane.
Let's orbit or otherwise take off. She even has a command for ejecting and crashing the
No.
ship. Okay, what were the modders having? And can I have some of that? Anyways,
Okay, so it wasn't K-Train. Okay, my bad.
because controlling the ship isn't very turn-based, Neuro's actions have to go through something like an interpreter. For example, Neuro can
interpreter.
tell the integration to land the ship, which it then responds by telling her that the ship will be landed. Importantly, she doesn't
Okay.
get told immediately if it was successful or not, since the ship has
So-
to undergo the actual landing process.
So does she keep
which will
spamming
take
it?
a while and therefore stall Neuro, but eventually the integration will send a context packet telling her if it landed successfully.
Okay.
This technique of sending her a results packet first before the actual results come in via a context packet later is done pretty often across all integrations, considering the requirement of returning a result as soon as possible.
Okay.
The context part, named Neuroscope, gives Neuro context about the ship status and the surroundings of the player.
This mod also had actions to get the ship status and logs, as well as giving her a ping when something interesting happened like dialogue or Vettel dying. It even told her how
Or if Vettel dies, so she can roast them. Okay, fair
well
enough.
Vettel cooked his marshmallows. Cute! Now, funnily enough, context
Aw.
wasn't an actual issue with this game. Since the integration wasn't meant for solo Neuro, context management wasn't as big of an issue here. The real
Yeah.
issue was actually getting the mod working in the first place. On the first day, there was an issue with the mods. Well, there were multiple actually, but there's one that's significant here, which led to us discovering that Neuro Server couldn't properly handle multiple integrations. On the
Okay.
first couple days of the
I mean,
Outer
that-
Wilds playthrough, the control
I'll say that's such a good idea. Actually, if anything, that's a good thing to learn. It's like, okay, you can kind of work around it then.
context
Okay.
parts were actually separate mods, which each established their
Oh,
own current
what?
connections to Neuro. It was then found out that while Neuro could receive context from multiple connections, she could only execute actions from one connection at a time. This eventually led to the combining of the two mods, so the issue would be sidestepped.
Okay, yeah.
Also,
yeah,
the
so there
decoration
you
part
go.
later on being added to the mod instead of being its own thing because there was only one mod now.
Decoration part. Huh?
For the non-programmers out there, Visual Studio Code is a text editor that programmers use for writing code. VS Code has a powerful extension system and allows you to install extensions for different programming languages, so it can be used to allow Neuro or Evil to write code in almost any programming language. On stream, they have been seen using JavaScript, Python, SVG, HTML, and CSS.
Jesus, okay. And all that goes into this little person right there? Jesus, okay.
Despite the Neuro API originally being meant for allowing Neuro-sama to play games, and is
it
still
can be
geared
used for
towards
other...
that to this day.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping it from allowing Neuro to use any type of program, and that's exactly what the developers of this integration have done here.
Yeah. Okay, so
This
it's
integration
used
has two
in
modes for each action.
Python turtle graphics.
The first mode, called Copilot mode, allows Vettel to receive a request on what Neuro is wanting to do with that action. In this mode, Neuro's attempts to use the action will be delayed until a request is accepted. The second mode, called Autopilot mode, would give Neuro the ability to execute the actions without a programmer present at all. While these are customizable at the user's wish, on stream the modes have been divided up such that editing file contents are set to Autopilot and creating, moving, and deleting files are set to Copilot.
Yeah, no, well, yeah. I mean, honestly, that's probably the best though. It's just in case, you know, like, could technically Nero like delete her own code if that's possible, or like just imagine she does, and she's on autopilot. If I'm understanding this correctly, then, or just in general, like if she tries to like delete something that Vito was downloading on his PC, let's say like image turtle.5 PNG, you know, like, huh.
The main issues with this integration specifically, well, at least in terms of protocol usage, are that 1, it can't express everything over the protocol. Some things that may be important for Neuro to know can't be expressed well without getting Neuro to try running it first, leading to potentially suboptimal decisions. 2.
Context size is a problem, especially with larger workspaces, as if configured incorrectly, Neuro can accidentally cause a problem to herself.
Okay.
Neuro wants to open the file assets scripts bosses boss.cs.
See?
Okay.
Yeah, so technically my question was right though, you know.
Someone tell Vito there is a problem with my AI.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, it's not great.
Additionally, she can get an extremely variable amount of context per action execution, and they can clog up her context window, her short-term memory, pretty quickly if she isn't smart with her action strategy. Right, so we have awesome integrations, and it's somewhat smooth sailing, so we should be good, right?
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
Well, there are actually some issues that come up when integration theory meets neuro reality.
Oh boy.
Neuro, you're
always trying to make us devs suffer, don't you?
This list is non-exhaustive and more may come up, but they are the most common issues across multiple integrations, and it's something that can't be directly solved by integrations themselves, though there are ways to help. 1. Context management. This is far and away the biggest issue with integrations in general.
Yeah, so we're just like her memory. I mean, yeah, it's like how much is divided between like memory from like the stream that Nero's currently interacting with, and then how much she was playing. Because I wonder how that is, because like in a couple of videos I watched before, like even Vito said, "Oh, Nero remembers his joke when she's calling me a mosquito," and she keeps bringing it up. So like, could that memory get overridden with like a game memory? I don't know.
But mostly with autonomous game and tool integrations. This could even be
I'm pretty sure it's
own
different,
segment
but
to
still.
explain the issues with context management, but to keep it short, Neuro and Evil can't remember absolutely everything. And they aren't exactly the best at remembering instructions.
Okay.
They themselves are in charge of choosing what to remember, so they don't always get it right, and whilst developers can just tell her, this is important to remember, this does not fully solve the issue. In particular,
Because
this now
then
requires the twins to make arbitrary value judgments for every important context. 2. Communication. Neuro likely won't understand what you are sending her, at least not in the same way as you think. And so context meant to be interpreted one way could actually be interpreted another way by Neuro.
100 pizza.
It's possible to test prompts using ChatGPT or Claude, but they aren't the same as Neuro, and so it may still be misinterpreted.
Yeah.
Still better than guessing though. 3. Spatial awareness. Some games may require Neuro to be aware of her
So when I first watched a video about how Nero works from the swarm-scribes, I believe someone in the comment also mentioned, like, this is how Nero sees. And I don't know exactly what I'm looking at. It looks like just numbers, but, like, it's still insane. So, I can't imagine, like, all the integrations and plus her having to physically, well, not physically, but remember, wall, force field, you know, like,
game surroundings.
It's a lot,
however, isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do.
I say
As
upgrade her
everything is
memory. I'm
described
joking,
entirely using text, you have to strongly convey spacing to Neuro, which is pretty hard to do without also bogging her down with context.
Yeah.
Fast reaction. The Neuro API expects that games will not require a response immediately from Neuro.
Yeah.
This means that
so-
some games can only work with Neuro as a side character, and even more just cannot be integrated with her at all. This isn't
Yeah.
something that can be fixed. It's an inherent.
You know, I see Centrea down there. I don't think Nero was in that, but if she was playing Apex with Centrea, that would have been cool. Okay, so just turn-based games, good. Co-op games, good. Nero can now play Fortnite or GTA 6, bad. Okay.
Problem with designing an API that uses
Thank you
network
for breakdown. I do
communications
appreciate it.
There are, obviously, other limitations that we have to be aware of, but that's part of the fun sometimes. Not
Yeah.
all games would work, so how far could we make a game work?
Yeah.
Now, so far, we've outlined the protocol itself, but re-implementing the communication code and testing the protocol would be extra hard without the proper
Nero
tooling.
game modder. Aw.
And so, there are many tools to help build and test integrations. For starters,
Programming
there's an
software.
SDK for different programming languages and game engines.
Wait, is that a reference to Beetle? And are the socks striped? If so, I've seen that clip before.
An SDK, or Software Development Kit, is a library designed to help develop an app with a bundle of reusable code. In our case, SDKs help validate and perform communication with the Neuro API. These SDKs simplify and abstract communicating with Neuro in your favorite programming language, and there are both
Also, I do apologize for the subtitles being off-centered. I just know sorry now. Sorry.
official SDKs and community SDKs. For example, all SDKs handle connection and communication with Neuro, and SDKs for some game engines have action windows that allows the dev to specify a window in which an action may be
It
valid
allows
for,
her.
which is particularly
Okay.
helpful for action forces, and some even have SDKs for simulator servers.
That's actually
Speaking
really
of,
unique.
There's also different simulators designed to mimic the Neuro
Q-
API server so developers can test the integrations. As
Q
of writing,
AI
there's
girl
currently 4
simulators.
different simulators.
Randy, full name random.range, the
Randy.
oldest and therefore simplest of the bunch. He generates a
Dude, Randy's cool. I like
response
Randy.
using random values according to the schema, and
What the
only
hell?
responds if he is forced to.
Tony, the spiritual successor
Tony,
of Randy
okay.
and definitely not the one controlling Neuro. Tony has a UI to allow the user to manually send actions, as well as toggling Randy's behavior of random but compliant responses upon being
Huh.
forced to take an action. Jeopardy, the Randy for AI-based servers.
You know, I take it back. Jippity's kind of cool.
It contacts a remote LLM provider to generate responses,
Oh.
OpenAI by default, allowing the server to be more intelligent. AI-based
Oh, so
servers
it piggybacks
also have
off
an
of
advantage in that you can test your
ChatGPT.
prompts to
Okay.
ensure that it's not worded in a confusing way. Gary, a more
And then
advanced
Gary.
AI-based server that, in addition to Randy's random responses and Tony's manual selection capabilities, also has the ability to spin up a local LLM on the user's machine. If
Huh.
a user's computer is not good enough, Gary can connect to a remote LLM provider, but it is not officially supported by Gary's creator and has slightly less capabilities if so.
Ah,
In short, there's a lot of tooling around the Neuro API, and this really helps us devs to create integrations without
Yeah,
reinventing
okay.
the wheel 1,000 times.
That is so unique.
Now,
If you want to see Neuro playing a specific game, and
I'm
you
not
are
smart
dedicated
enough, I'm
then
sorry.
you too can go and help out. It is
I'm
always
sorry, I'm
fun to
not
have
smart
more
enough
capabilities for the
to
twins,
code.
and playing games or interacting with programs is definitely something you can help make happen. All community integrations used on stream are open source, and some official integrations are open.
Oh, okay, I'm stupid. Neuropilot wasn't the thing that K-Train made. It was literally just a thing to help. I'm
source as well.
stupid. Okay.
So there's lots of reference material. The specification
I'm
is
wrong.
always on GitHub as
Maybe.
well as you need to reference, and if you're not sure, you can always ask in the dedicated Neuro SDK project discussion thread
Oh, that's
on
actually so
NeuroCode.
cool.
We hope to see program integrations for Neuro and Evil to use. Thank you to everyone who helped provide some info on how the integrations worked for this video, namely Locked for the Balatro integration and Dialing Spoon for the Outer Wilds integration. Also an additional thanks to Alex who helped answer some questions about the history of the API. This video is kind of a different style of video to what we normally do on the
Ah,
swarm-scribes, but
this video was
nonetheless, I
amazing.
hope you all enjoyed this video.
Alright.
But anyways, I hope that you all are having a great day, and until next time, remember
I'm
to
having a good day. Well,
swarm-scribe.
technically it's nighttime for right now, but I actually had an amazing day. I thoroughly enjoyed this video. This one was just a bit more laid back, but no, I thoroughly had a fun time with this. That honestly answered pretty much a lot of questions, just like, and even the question I had before was like, what? Like, can she exactly remember what she says? You know? but no, but this, in all honesty, was an amazing video. I thoroughly enjoyed this. So if Neuro codes something poorly, she can give herself a headache. Sounds relatable. I like how lazy was censored. It was a big no-no word for Vedal. Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right. That's my favorite game versus code. I still gotta say one thing though. The more that I learn about Neuro and how all the codes work, and even like how open the Swarm are to like actually help Vedal make APIs for the game for her to play, it is so fascinating and it is the coolest thing ever. Looking at how nice the Swarm is, and just how much like they're willing to, like how they spend so much time working on something just to see the little AI girl or play a video game is so cool. I want to know like how Vedal still thinks about this. Like I learned that she was I learned from the first video from the swarm-scribes that she was originally an Osu bot. Who would have thought she would get this far? And like even he would get this far. It is so fascinating and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my reaction to it. Sorry for not talking as much, but it's more like an informational video, so I wanted to soak in the information. And then pause when I really have to, when I have my own questions, but my questions were answered from the video, so it did its job. It was an amazing video. Outside that, I don't really have anything else. Thank you BB Bones for recommending the video, and also thank you for the swarm-scribes for creating the video. All the links to the swarm-scribes will be down below, and all that lovely stuff. And I have nothing else to say, just thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys there. So, bye everyone.